What's going on, guys? Naeem Al-Obeidi here. Today we're looking at Bitcoin's chart. It's May 28th, and you can see we're seeing some bullish momentum here at that 50-week moving average, coming up from 8,700 now to around 9,480. And of course, we talked about this on Monday, and it ended up happening. And I want to talk about a little bit of the more micro perspectives of what's happening with Bitcoin, but also cover the stock markets and gold because they are starting to make some movements. And then we'll also talk about the fundamentals and on-chain metrics that we mentioned on Monday and how they're affecting Bitcoin. Because as you can see here with this chart, we talked about that NVT mean ratio hitting a one-year high. The last time that happened was here in October of 2019. And you can see that's exactly when Bitcoin started to come up and actually formed another higher low here on the chart. And so if we were to predict what's going to happen here, and I take a range and look at a projection here of if this was to also happen right now, you can see it actually puts Bitcoin at a level in which it comes and tests this ascending support levels and even comes up to that $12,000 area, which fills that $11,700 CME gap that we all talked about and saw on Monday. And so if Bitcoin is able to come and find some bullish momentum here, then of course we could see upside action. But understand, I don't think it's going to be an easy ride because you can see here, there's obvious resistance levels here. You can see this one that was a support level since that day we dumped. You can see it's now starting to come up and test that, and that's just now within the last 12 hours. And so for Bitcoin to just cross through without any sort of trouble, I think is a little bit I think it's unexpected, and it probably won't happen. I think we'll come and test this level around 9,000 at least once more to possibly then pull either up or down depending on if that $9,000 level is able to hold. And so if we look at a different chart that I've got for you here, you can see we're also coming up here on this daily chart, and you can see we're testing that 9619 level, and that's an important number because you can see that's actually another major support and resistance level from this ascending channel that initially started forming at that dump. And so if we come up right now, I'm pretty sure it's going to be very likely that we come down to test this before we continue to see upside. I think that confirmation is going to be a test and a break to the upside beyond that 9620 area for Bitcoin. And then looking at 9177, that's kind of the downside area and the support level. And if we do break that, I think there's a higher chance that we could see that $8,000 level possibly towards these daily moving averages and where they're converging. But if we start to see a lot of volume and we see the bulls really kick in right now, then I think Bitcoin is in a position where it definitely has the chance to come up and start testing that $10,500 level. But I think a lot of that is going to be really determined on whether or not it can come up and break this $9,800 resistance level that's kind of making this bullish symmetrical triangle here on the daily chart. And so interestingly, we've obviously come up and broken all of these macro resistance levels. If we take this weekly chart, you can see these resistance levels dating back towards 2017. If we're now above all those, we can assume things are going to be bullish, but that's only if we're able to come back and test that $9,000 level. And if we do come and break that, then obviously our next target could be around that $8,700 level towards 8,000, as we saw with that other chart previously. And so a lot happening with Bitcoin. Sorry for just going straight into the chart. There was just so much to talk about. But I do want to pull up gold really quick because you can see here with gold on the weekly chart, we're far and above that 50-week moving average. We know gold loves to come and test that 50-week moving average. You can see even during that gold rush here where gold was just really starting to see the highest highs that it's ever seen here in 2011, it stuck near that 50-week moving average, and it doesn't really like to go too far away from that. You can see it tried doing that here in July of 2016, but it came right back down. So I think that we'll most likely come and see some lower action and lower price levels for gold at some point here in the next coming weeks. If we look at the daily chart, you can see we're starting to see a little bit of weakness at this resistance level, and if we take these support levels that are right beneath it, we're really watching that 1670 area for gold because that's really going to be below that 50-day moving average and that major resistance and support level. So if that breaches, then that does have the chance to come down and for us to possibly come and test that $1,600 level towards that 1590 area where this ascending support level is going to be there. And then let's take a look at the stock market really quick. And I do have to head out. I just saw a text message from one of my friends. I do have to head to that meeting here in just a sec. And sorry I couldn't put up a live stream once again. I was not able to. I didn't have time yesterday, and of course even today I've been booked with meetings, and so I do apologize about that. But looking at the NASDAQ, you can see here we're coming up to test this new resistance level right around 97.70, and we've currently broken that 92.85 area that acted as resistance on January 22nd at the start of this year. And so knowing that we broke that, we only can assume that we're going to come and retest that high. But for now, I don't think we're just going to continue to see green candles. You can see we're only seeing day after day green candles. I think at some point we'll see a pullback and we'll see normal stock market volatility and behavior for a short amount of time, as we've seen here since the beginning of April, just kind of ups and downs and higher highs and higher lows and so forth, until we see any sort of major push. We can't assume that things are going to be bleak for the stock market. And so let's go and look at some on-chain metrics. As you guys know, I love looking at some charts here. Fees per transactions, not really seeing much of a change since Monday. We're kind of maintaining this higher low in an uptrend. And so we want to know if this topped out or not, because you can see here back in June of 2019, we did top out, and then eventually we saw price levels top out at that exact day, and that was when Bitcoin went to that $14,000 level. And so if this did top out here, you can see we did see a big push down when Bitcoin saw that recent higher low. You can see that could potentially make us assume that we did top out. So I want to know if this area is going to hold, or if we're going to breach this ascending support level that's forming this higher low. And of course, we'll have to let the days pass by for that to come into fruition. And so that's also another reason I don't think Bitcoin is just going to see a breakout out of nowhere. I think we'll see a little bit of consolidation at these high 9,000, low 9,000s, and high $8,000 levels for some time, just because the network here, even the hash rate, you can see kind of sticking down here and forming that lower low. And so we only can assume at some point this is going to come up. And is that going to bring price up or down? So far, it going down is still bringing price up. So we'll have to see, but really it's just staying stagnant. And we can't assume this is a bearish indicator, because when it did come down here, it obviously didn't, it did it with price. It didn't just bring price up. This was when Bitcoin came down to $3,900. And so at that time, the hash rate did have a direct correlation with price. But right now, the correlation is not there. And so we can't assume that that's the way that that correlation works. So maybe Bitcoin is bullish now because it takes less hash rate to maintain the type of price levels that they're currently at. And so who knows what the case is. It's all about supply and demand with that. And so I hope you guys are enjoying this video. I'm going to wrap up. And once again, I hope you guys enjoyed this quick analysis. I'm really going to be interested to see if we're going to kind of copy what happened here when the NVT mean ratio hit that 1 year high, and if we're able to kind of follow this pattern, and then we do finally end up coming to that $5,000 level at some point, but it could be towards the end of this year before we come into winter with a bullish rally, and that would be if we copied the same fractal that formed here when that NVT mean ratio hit that 1 year high on October 7th, and it also happened here on the 18th of May. And so that was a fundamental that we took a look at on our video, our live stream on Monday. And so anyways, thank you guys so much for tuning in. If you guys appreciate this content, make sure to like the video, and I will see you guys live on Friday, as always on Friday night. So thank you guys so much, and I'll see you soon. Snipers out.